Hello. Today I will be going through a Balatro clone I've been working on in order to prepare for a roguelike card game that I have in the works behind the scenes. And I figured it would be good to get kind of a baseline set up using Godot as the engine and Balatro as the framework, I guess. And for the basic parts, which I'm kind of far away from now, but to start this, I followed a video series from Barry's Development Hell, which will be linked in the description. And so I'm going to go through everything I have here, and then I'm going to work on implementing the hand scoring, detection and scoring for this project. So we have our main scene, which it's a slightly different from Balatro, where you have, we'll play it. You can draw manually, and then you have to place them into the slot, which I will be switching back to how it is in Balatro, where it's you select it in the hand and then you click score and it goes up. So that isn't a difficult thing, it's just how it is. And currently all I have is you can draw, which I will also be implementing a hand size limit, and you can click score. And if you do that out here, it will print out the added value, whoops, the added value of every card you have here. So 10, 20, 22, 31, 38, 38. And I have the main scene, which has all of these things. It's got the hand, which is just the manager for distributing the cards, which will later be updated to dynamically change with how many cards you have in your hand and how you move them around and everything. We have the manager, the hand, the 5 slots, the input manager, which just handles all the card dragging and selection and everything logic. The deck, which is this, and this handles drawing the actual cards and which card you can draw, like all of the available card options. The deck sheet manager, which is just, this is so I can easily change cards and later implement like texture pack type deals, which I'll go into in a minute. And then the slot manager, which is for scoring. So it goes through each slot and decides what hand it is and how it will be scored. So I have here the card class, which is just the basic node, sprite, the back sprite for there's a flipping animation, and then the area collision and the animation player. The slot, same idea. Deck, same idea. It's got the label down here for how many cards are remaining. The manager, which is the sprite, which I made in a sprite, and the slot manager, which is used based on the button, and that's got the whole 3 textures so far. And then in the script, we have just a basic signal. Let's see, this is from the tutorial, but these values are not, just the hand position. We've got the database of every card in the deck, and then its value, so point value, ranking, and then suit, which is, I think, spades, clubs, hearts, diamonds. The card manager, which goes through all the logic for the actual card's behavior and slots and ordering and lots of the input stuff, but it ties into the input manager down here. There's the deck, which, yeah, manages every card you can draw, and then references the dictionary and assigns the value when you draw the card. Which is kind of a little roundabout, but it kind of makes more sense to do it as you go instead of making 52 actual objects. And then the deck sheet manager, which just goes through and constructs the name of the key for the dictionary based on the horizontal and vertical position in the sprite sheet, and then creates a new empty image, and then blitz each pixel onto it. There's possibly a better way to do this, but I couldn't see anything about if you try to just copy like whatever frame is displayed by the sprite, if you set it in the sprite's properties, it'll just copy the entire sprite sheet, even if only one of them is selected, which makes sense. And then it saves it down here into a file of every card on startup. So if I want to change the texture pack essentially of the deck, it'll do automatically. And I can add in functionality for the backs. That's the main brunt of what I've done so far. And what I'm going to be working on today is in the slot manager code, which currently loops through and prints the cumulative score of every card that's in a slot. And so far, I have gone into MS Paint. This looks like nonsense, but I have how each hand in Balatro, the requirements for it. So for example, and then I'm going to go through and rank them all by what order I need to check them for, because obviously a flush 5 is also a flush, but it doesn't score the flush, it scores the flush 5. So I have the flush 5, which checks that every card's suit and rank is equivalent in the hand. And then the flush house, which suit and rank for 2 cards, and then suit and rank for 3 cards. The 5 of a kind, which just checks the rank of all the cards are the same. Straight flush, or royal flush, which is a specific hand. Straight flush, which will do sorted and then check that each one is +1, +2, +3 of the first value. 4 of a kind just checks the rank of all of them. Goes all the way down here. High card being the least exclusive option. It just will pick the largest one if all of the other hands fail after I go through and rank. So I'll be back when that's done. Okay. As you can see, there have been some changes, and I've gone from trying to rank them in order of checking to just numbers for simplicity. And down here I've made a flow chart for all of the 5-card hands. I think I'm going to start with that, and then I'll add in all of the smaller, lower scoring hands afterwards. But this is more of a proof of concept just to get the logic working in the baseline. So for this I have, if they're all the same suit and they're all the same rank, then we check for a flush 5. If they're all the same suit, but they're not all the same rank, then we check for a flush house. And then if it's not a flush house, then we check for a royal flush. Then we check for a straight flush. Then we check for a flush. And if it's not the same suit, but it is the same rank, then we just check if it's 5 of a kind. Otherwise, we check full house, and then we check straight. And so I will be implementing that now. And then afterwards, I will implement 4-card hands, which is 6, 11, and also 3, 2, and 1, 10, 12, 13. So here we go. Okay, I've got all the basic 5 card implementation, and as I finish up here, I'm just going to be adding in functions for is straight, which will be a pass, but that will just be this entire logic statement for checking if each of the ranks are in consecutive order. And then I'll do a check for wraparound and another one to check, what is it? Oh yeah, is full house, which will also be a pass for now. And that checks if the first 2 cards are the same in the last 3, or if the first 3 and the last 2 are the same. And that's what all of this is. So I'll just be moving that in over the course between this episode and the next episode, which will be adding in, let's see, animations, I think, and adjusting it so it's more similar to the Balatro playstyle where you select cards in your hand and then click score and they go up. So I'll add that, and I'll add like a scoring readout on the screen instead of in here. And, in Balatro with the score, multiplier, and chips, and the name and everything, I'll probably put that on screen. And that'll be in the next episode. So until then, adios.